Hello and welcome, everybody. I am Kathy Flaherty, principal at Matthews, Carter and Boyce. For the past 77 years, MCB has been honored to be a trusted guide providing sophisticated business advisory services, audit and assurance, tax planning and compliance, outsourced accounting, and employee benefit plan consulting. We've earned a reputation for doing more than just keeping the books and have become known as strong, proactive partners dedicated to our clients, employees, and community alike. Excuse me, and we invest in helping each adapt and grow. Thank you for joining us today. We've been hosting our Women in Business event for several years and have presented on a variety of timely topics. We're excited about today's event and topic, helping women of all ages learn about AI. Before we begin, a couple of logistic items. The presentation will be a conversation where my colleague, Ray Sun, will ask the panelists a series of questions and they will share their insights. Since this is such a dynamic event and discussion, and we have 4 fantastic panelists sharing their knowledge, we will not take questions from the audience today. However, we do plan to have a second Women in Business event on AI in 2025. I am now delighted to welcome Ray Sun.
Thank you, Kathy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our panel discussion on AI. My name is Ray Sun. I'm a manager at Matthews, Carter and Boyce. I am thrilled to be moderating today's session, a topic that has had a significant impact on my own work over the past year and a half. My journey with AI began when I led a team of auditors piloting Data Snipper, an AI platform to streamline our audit process. And eventually, we fully implemented this powerful tool to the entire audit practice. In the past few years, we have implemented several automation and AI tools for our audit, tax, outsourced accounting practices. I was amazed to see how everyone in our team embraced the changes. And with that mindset, we have experienced how AI transformed our daily work procedures and improved our efficiency and effectiveness. So seeing the potential firsthand, I am so excited to explore how AI is changing industries beyond just audit. And since it is such a rapidly evolving field, we, especially women in business, have a tremendous opportunity to shape this technology in ways that reflect diversity, ethical considerations, and accessibility. So we will discuss how AI is shaping the future and strategies on how we use AI and some challenges we must navigate to use it responsibly. So here we're honored to have an exceptional group of experts here today, and I'm looking forward to an insightful discussion. To kick things off, I'd like to ask each of our panelists to introduce yourselves and share your AI journey. What was your aha moment when it came to embracing AI instead of being afraid of it? So I guess I'll go in the order everyone appears on my screen. Anu, would you like to get started?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Anu Jackal, the CEO and co-founder of DataSurge. Throughout my career, I've had the privilege of working at several startups, building companies from the ground up. And inspired by these visionary founders, I co-founded DataSurge with a mission to modernize, democratize, and transform data for companies, empowering them to become data and AI-driven. At DataSurge, we collaborate with both federal and commercial sectors, providing AI-tailored solutions that drive innovation and efficiency. Over the years, I have witnessed the evolution from traditional AI to the transformative world of generative AI. And when we started back in 2019, AI was still met with some skepticism or apprehension. Today, it's exciting to see how much more accepting and enthusiastic companies have become about adopting AI challenges and technologies. Truly, it is a great time to be alive and be part of this transformative journey. So I'm very happy to share my thoughts on today's exciting topic.
Thank you, Anu. Kara, would you like to go next?
Yes, thank you. I'm Kara Dickey. I'm the Chief Founder and Chief Executive Officer of SmartCom Solutions. I'm super excited to be here too. This is a fun discussion. I would say that my journey with AI began back in the 90s when I worked at Freddie Mac, and we were tasked to redevelop or modernize our old COBOL system that purchased mortgages, and we were to make sure that the mortgages were in compliance with the contracts we had with the sellers, as well as just the general services requirements. So I had heard about this technology called rule-based processing, and I looked into it and found out that this could be a really innovative way to solve the problem. So I brought that technology into Freddie Mac, and we implemented it, and I've just been really interested in AI going forward. I'm not an expert, and it kind of lay dormant for a number of years. I think rule-based processing gave way to decision management. But now in the last 5 years, as Anu was saying, everything's just exploded. And I'm seeing like almost every project I'm on has an AI component, and we're starting to embrace generative AI and looking to really, change the world in ways where, things that used to take 5 hours now take 5 minutes, those kind of things. So that is my journey, and looking forward to future AI work.
Very exciting. Thank you, Kara. Justin?
Hey everyone, my name is Justin Marciano. I am the co-founder and CEO of a company called Validia. We are an enterprise deepfake identity protection service. What we provide is a platform that'll join calls just like these to authenticate users based on an underlying biometric profile that we pull from an HR system and ATS system. But I know that's kind of a scary word. Deepfakes are a scary thing these days, and we very much see it as a new and upcoming cybersecurity threat. No longer is the age of phishing where someone's emailing you, asking for $1,000 of a Google Play gift card. Now someone that's on your team or your boss can actually impersonate or be impersonated in order to create some sort of cyber breach or a data leak. And I would say my initial venture into the AI world was around a deepfake, actually. I saw last May, there was an image that was posted on Twitter of the Pentagon with an explosion next to it. It was reported by what was supposedly Bloomberg, and this caused a $50 billion market sell-off from the S&P. While the market really corrected after that, it is really telling about what this technology can do from a economic standpoint, but as well as I think there's broader social issues that many of us run into with this technology, and really looking forward to exploring and talking about this today.
Awesome. Thank you, Justin. And finally, we have Rachel.
Thanks, Ray. My name is Rachel Leininger, and I'm a Senior Transformation Manager at Data Sniffer in our New York office, and I'm really excited to be here today. Data Sniffer is an Excel add-on that allows users to extract information from anything from handwritten to computer-generated documentation that you're typically getting in a support client service type function. We compile all of that supporting documentation into one platform and allow a cross-reference directly to that support, which really creates an audit trail and a lot of trust within the reviewing process. We also automate a lot of the financial reporting tie-out and the financial statements through our FSS product. And as of last week, we actually announced our latest add-on module, which is called Uplink, which is an AI-powered PVC request list that uses AI to query that supporting documentation that you're getting from your clients on the cloud. As Ray had mentioned, Matthews Carter Boyce is a Data Sniffer client, and the audit department does have access. So I might know some of you through trainings and Q&As that I hosted. But that's really what has brought me here today. Ray and I would stay after and kind of chat about AI and Data Sniffer and just kind of how much we wish we would have had this years ago. And so it's just really nice to see her here today. We also hosted her at our Data Sniffer Connect event this summer, where she was a guest panelist. And so I'm really happy to return the favor.
Thank you, Rachel.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, thank you for being part of my AI journey.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. So thank you again, everyone, for being here. As we go, I may direct some questions to certain panelists, but feel free to chime in if you have anything to share with the audience. So let's dive right in. Our first question is that what was some challenges business leaders face where automation and AI could help? So I guess, Rachel, I'll start with you.
Yeah, happy to jump in. As part of my role, I work with audit firms, tax firms, really anyone who uses Excel, I think really benefits from Data Sniffer, and I help them onboard it into their existing processes. And so I get to talk to business leaders to kind of understand what those challenges may be or any concerns that they may have, and really where a tool like Data Sniffer, which is full of automation and AI, can really help. So the two that I kind of bucket it into is the volume of data these days is not going to decrease. It's only going to be increasing. And the accumulation of that data takes a lot of time to get it into an analyzable format. So whether your clients are giving it to you unstructured or scans, and it takes a lot of manual time to actually compile that to get it into that workable format. I think that AI can assist the preparers, those that are in the trenches or fresh from school, fresh from studying for their CPA, to compile that data with less friction, really to get it to a place where they can start to produce those insights and provide those upskilling to young people who want to do more than just Excel gymnastics is what I typically call it. And that really leads into the people experience. That's kind of the second challenge that I see. There's a lot of tools out there, and you have to stay competitive to attract that good young talent, especially as we find a decrease in those even studying accounting in general. So coming out of college, they want tools that can help them do their job just as quickly as their peers. So I think AI really can help us to give the team the power to work with their clients. Because I know in my experience, I worked at one of the big four before I came to Data Sniffer, and every client I had, we send a lot of personalization into our communications with them. So AI allows us to standardize, not spend as much time, drafting a PBC, maybe reminder. Using AI can help that the communication really streamline and become a lot easier.
Absolutely. Kara, would you like to add anything to this topic?
Yes, I see one of the biggest challenges today are people having to deal with very time-consuming manual tasks. And I can give an example in the federal government is creating requests for proposals. Just looking at the clauses required by the federal government alone, it can take you 2 weeks. And generative AI, it can really shorten the time frame for doing this thing. So I see a lot of government clients looking into this technology that could just dramatically improve the time that they need to spend on these things and free up their time to do other more important things.
Awesome. Thank you, Kara, for sharing your perspective on how AI can help us. So now let's talk about some challenges that we face when using AI. In your AI role, what keeps you up at night and what keeps your clients up at night? Guess Anu, I'll go to you.
Sure, yeah. I can start with me on what keeps me up at night first, and that is poor AI strategy. Poor planning in AI adoption can lead to failures and setbacks and potentially causing another AI winter that we've already experienced 2 times before, right? Where the interest and investment in AI starts to fade due to unmet expectations. And I still come across many organizations that are not being strategic in what they're trying to solve using AI. Right? It's more an attempt to adopt AI for the sake of AI, to keep up with the AI hype. Right? There's no individual or team that's designated to take ownership of the AI strategy and implementation. So yeah, that's ultimately what keeps me up at night, that you have this incredibly powerful and transformative technology, and it doesn't actually get applied properly because nobody's really responsible for it. On the client's end, what I hear quite often from their concerns is around the ROI of the AI projects, right? Return on investment. They want to ensure that their investments in AI will lead to tangible benefits and cost savings, which is actually a good thing because you should question the benefits of adopting AI in your projects, but that does not mean that you avoid AI altogether, right? It just means we got to be more thoughtful and strategic in our approach. And what that could entail is starting small with a POC, define clear objectives that you want to achieve, and then set some measurable KPIs or metrics that align with your objective. It could mean process time reduction. Hey, there has been a decrease in error rate, or you're tracking your customer satisfaction scores. And of course, the easy one is cost savings, right? These really help quantify the benefits, and you can then compare your total cost of AI project from ideation, development to maintenance with the qualified benefits and the quantified benefits, I should say, also to determine the ROI. And as they say, numbers don't lie, right? So once you have those, it's a good idea to then make sure you're communicating, you're presenting these results in a clear and concise manner to your stakeholders, highlighting both the short-term and long-term strategic benefits.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with you. You know, a strategic plan, you know, a communication are really the key, you know, to success.
You're right.
Yeah, awesome. And thank you, Anu. Justin, would you like to add anything on this topic?
Yeah, absolutely. I think on my end, there's a multitude of challenges, right? I think the problem that we all face right now is that we're in this age where there is a technology that is advancing exponentially, and the ability to understand it is advancing linearly, and the ability to regulate it is moving even slower. So from my perspective, I think one of the biggest challenges and one of the things that our clients worry about, for one, is the misuse of this technology. What I like to talk about and what we like to talk about at Validia is the fact that what we're really battling against is just the fact that these models are getting better. And that leads to a massive amount of productivity increases, you know, to hit on Anu's point, right? Like there's all this amazing software that's out there that's going to enhance productivity, you know, reduce costs for businesses. But you also have to realize that as all of this technology evolves, there is also, you know, the dark side of the internet, where people are going to weaponize and utilize these tools to take advantage of weaker systems that have not, you know, kept pace with the, you know, existing cybersecurity solutions that are out there. And unfortunately, where we're seeing it is social engineering is becoming more and more and more of a problem. Cybersecurity has been really focused on kind of hardening infrastructure for years. And the biggest problem that companies still face today is those social engineering incidents. You could spend $1 billion every year on CrowdStrike, Palo Alto, any single, you know, major cybersecurity service or services in general. But if one individual at your company is social engineered, you run into situations like the MGM ransomware attack. And what we really wanted to do is tackle that problem in general. But I think the biggest challenge is that we're in this Red Queen paradox era where it's almost like we need to continuously advance just to be able to kind of match the adversary. So it's almost like the defense paradox, which is where defenders need to be right, you know, all the time, attackers need to be right. Once, has really been, inverted, where we really need to keep up with these bad actors, as this technology is so open source and readily available for people at extremely low prices.
Yeah, I agree, Justin, and thank you for sharing some pressing concern, from AI, both the service provider and the customer, perspectives. And to me, definitely, these are the issues that we need to be aware of. But Justin, now let's stay with you and let's talk about the benefit of AI now. Many believe that we're entering the fourth industrial revolution. So at least, to me, we're now in this pivot moment of history when AI is bringing so much potential to fundamentally change how people live, work, and communicate, and push the boundary to what's possible. What are you most excited about AI?
Yeah. For one, I hope I don't come across too negative. This technology is amazing. Like, I truly have had amazing productivity increases just simply due to using Claude, GPT, and just being there from the beginning. Like, I remember even telling my boss about ChatGPT. I'm like, you have to see this. This is the next thing. This was November, so we're actually coming up on the 2-year birthday of GPT. Personally, I do like to use Claude, which is Anthropic's model, a lot more now. So apologies, Microsoft and Sam Altman. But yeah, I think what I'm really excited about is, on the other side of that spectrum, right, there is the ability for massive productivity increase, and the ability I think people underestimate the actual, like, what we're coming up on. It's the, kind of like you mentioned, the second industrial revolution, but it's more around, like, human intelligence is going to massively expand over the next 20 years. The ability to solve problems that have never been solved before because they physically take too long from a computational standpoint, or just from humans exerting effort. I really think that there's going to be this transformational wave, like you mentioned, of just massive technological advancements, and the ability to kind of get rid of a lot of the little tedious tasks that, everyday white collar workers do. I think a lot of people are worried about white collar work and, a lot of white collar jobs being replaced. But frankly, my suggestion would just simply be use the tools, right? They are not going to replace you. You will literally only get better by utilizing these tools. And I think one of the big things that I would advise everyone is, a lot of people view using these tools as almost cheating. And, like, it is a very difficult thing to overcome mentally, right? You're almost like you're banking on this underlying machine, to kind of give you answers, writing, copy, computational calculations, code, whatever it may be. It will help you inevitably. And these models are only getting better. And if you can understand how to use them now, being able to utilize them later will be much easier. So I encourage everyone to explore all of those solutions. Claude just came out with a new model. OpenAI's ChatGPT is amazing. If you don't use the premium, pay for it. Like, I've never been a subscription person for a lot of SaaS products, even though I sell a SaaS product myself. But it's, bounds ahead of the free version.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the increase is the potential is exponential. As long as we switch our mindset, to get ready for that change. Thank you, Justin. And Anu, would you like to add anything?
Well, yeah, for me, there's so many various sectors where we're going to start seeing advantages within AI, and we're already seeing them, right? I'm super excited about education and learning, creativity, getting rid of some of the mundane tasks like Justin mentioned, healthcare. And I have an example from my own doctor at UC Davis who's using AI to transcribe doctor and patient conversation in real time, right? It helps them now generate these concise medical notes from the conversation, which used to take them hours at the end of the day to compile. Now they're able to focus more on the patients, right, along with reducing the errors in the medical records while ensuring the privacy and regulatory compliance. But out of all of this, I am even more excited about the innovations in energy management because AI is playing a crucial role there, right? In energy management, environmental monitoring. That's what's going to help us create a more sustainable future. According to one of the KPMG reports, 73% of industry executives saw Gen AI improving their predictive maintenance and asset optimization efforts, right? And what that means is that we're using Gen AI algorithms to analyze vast amounts of data sets from equipment sensors. And these companies can now predict failures in their equipment in these big plants, minimize downtimes, repair costs. And Iberdrola Group, I don't know how many of you've heard of them, but they are a global leader in renewable and smart grids. They're optimizing energy production using AWS's advanced generative AI tools. So Bedrock and SageMaker are some of the examples there to integrate AI across their operations. And they're using Gen AI to optimize this area by integrating data from more than 400 different renewable and energy sites globally. This is going to allow them to monitor assets in real time, predict maintenance needs, and generate power demand forecasts. And something to note is as we're using Gen AI, there's going to be more and more data centers, right? The amount of work that we're going to need is going to require more data centers, so that power availability is going to be very important. And I think Gen AI is going to help with that as well.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I agree with you. And then thank you for sharing all these great examples. Data is kind of the field right now. And then we with the enormous amount of data, we can now, make decisions based on those data. So that's absolutely right. Thank you, Anu, for your perspective. So now let's move on to AI strategy. How can you foster an AI-ready culture for your organization and team? Rachel, would you like to talk about this?
I'd love to, yes. I think back to when AI kind of first showed up on the scene, a lot of people were afraid it was going to replace them, kind of to Justin's point. And I was reading an Accounting Today article that ends with, automation is not here to replace humans. It really should empower them. And that's a lot of where I come from in an onboarding role, where you've just purchased this product, you've made this investment, you're hoping for that ROI, and how do we empower users to jump on? And so I find in my role, I work with a lot of levels, whether it's tech leaders or partners or managers, all the way down to staff that really come in with a different perspective. And that's kind of that culture mindset shift that I really get excited to talk about. But I think there's kind of like two different veins, and it's either there's the people who will stay after with me and talk about, oh, I wish we would have had this, how different, my late nights would have been back in the field. And then there's other leaders that come in with the idea that they're less enthusiastic about the magic or the camaraderie that a new tool can provide, and more about reducing staff hours or even reducing staff altogether. And while I think both are valid points for a business, the most successful and healthy clients that have that mindset are teams that come in with a champion or that really positive tone at the top that encourage the use of automation tools. And I think when I step back, the really common thread, no matter how big or large our clients are, is that they realize that automation is only going to replace you if you don't know how to use it. So like Justin had mentioned, I think women in particular do find ChatGPT as a way of cheating. And that usually doesn't align with the values, and it feels like you're doing something wrong. And what I found in using ChatGPT, I don't know if anyone here attended my employee benefit plans webinar, but I use ChatGPT to create a database of dummy data. That's probably my most common use, because I don't want to make a list of 50 people with social security numbers and birth dates and everything like that. It's very easy with a tool like that, with ChatGPT. And what I've really found, it's about knowing the types of questions to ask And the more specific you can get, the better your output is going to be. So I think that culture is really around encouraging people to enable them and empower them to really experiment with this type of technology. And that really creates a shift in the mindset to empower them, get them excited to use it, adopt it, pay it forward to the next round of staff, and in turn to Anu's point, get that ROI looking good.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel, for your guidance. Now, let's talk about what are the best ways to build AI literacy in workplace. Justin, would you like to talk about this?
Yeah, I think kind of like I mentioned before is you got to let people utilize the tools. I think that's the, best way that I've learned over time is just been iteratively working with it. I think being able to provide educational resources, there's a million resources online, how to safely use it. I think, very much in a corporate environment, while I work in a startup and a lot of things are, a lot more fluid, in a corporate environment, just educating people on how to kind of use it. You want people to use it, but almost there needs to be guidelines and restrictions around what you put into it, what you ask it, what data you're working with within it. There's a lot of nitty gritties, and frankly, one simple session, kind of running through all of those nitty gritties in terms of things that need to be secure, can really help drive home the point that, these are tools to help you, tools to assist you, not to replace you. But as well as, we need to actually use these tools, in a safe and secure manner. I think, broadly, the other thing that I would really suggest using or doing in terms of like a literacy standpoint is, really keeping up to date. I know that sounds very simple, but there are podcasts that come out every week around the new advancements in AI. And I think just having that little edge of knowledge and encouraging people to stay on top of this type of advancement, dialing back to, my first comment around this technology is advancing exponentially. The video generation services that were premier, 1 month ago are now outdated compared to the ones today. And being able to have your employees, have your workforce be up to date, and understand those newer resources can almost be like mission critical to your business. There could be one tool and one application that you end up utilizing that completely changes the game for you. Whether that's a video editing tool, whether that's, a data aggregation tool, or, some other tool that fits into your workflow. There are a lot of ways that these tools can actually help, productivity, and also really help people understand, what's, happening within that space. So I think it's really, really important to kind of stay educated on the space as much as possible. And given the pace, you kind of have to take it upon yourself. And in terms, I saw there was a question in terms of what podcasts. I'll drop a link in there. There's like a daily AI podcast that I think is really cool. Just talking about the newest advancements, 15 minutes every day. So there you go.
Awesome. Yeah. Anyone else would like to chime in for this question? I mean, I agree with you, Justin, that awareness, and tailored training and culture, and communication are so important to make AI happen.
Yeah, and definitely, groups like this, meetups of this nature, it's a great platform to come and join, be watching LinkedIn, great professional site where you can be looking out for webinars and conferences. Every conference you go to, everyone's talking about AI. So you'll surely be up to date with AI by attending one of those.
Absolutely. Yeah. I guess, Anu, I'll stay with you.
Okay.
Now, how can organizations put their best foot forward with respect to AI governance and ensuring ethical use of AI?
Oh, that's a great question. To some of the points that Justin raised earlier, cybersecurity has always been important. And with AI, it's definitely getting more and more important, right? In various different ways that now the attack is coming through. As organizations, we can start with not creating and using AI for malicious purposes, right? We need to be intentional with our use cases, and our intentions are going to need that guardrail around it. So first and foremost for me is to ensure that you have an AI governance framework, as in create processes, standards, and guardrails to ensure that AI systems are safe, they're ethical, and they're aligned with your organizational values. Emphasize fairness, transparency, which is I got this query result. Where does this track back to? Accountability, right? And respect for human rights. But the other important aspect is awareness that Justin just touched upon, right? Invest in that training and education within your organization. Ensure that you're fostering a culture of prioritizing ethical AI use, promote open dialogue. And when you recognize, reward the ethical behavior that is occurring around you. And one that I feel is often overlooked would be monitoring and mitigating biases, right? You've created your AI framework now I'm done. Good. Now it's getting me all the answers. It doesn't end there. You've got to be continuously implementing rigorous processes to identify, monitor, and mitigate biases, for example, in AI system. This can include using diverse and representative data sets and regularly auditing your AI models to ensure that they don't perpetuate or amplify any kind of existing biases. So I think those would be, I feel, the first three or the top three things that come to mind.
Awesome. Thank you, Anu, for sharing your insights on this. So Justin, I think since you mentioned about the real-time identity authentication earlier, how can we as consumers trust that content that we're ingesting is authentic? Can you share some tips for authenticating the AI generated content?
Yeah. So I think we stand at a very interesting point in time with AI generated content. I think that from my perspective and the way that I view it, I think we're right on the precipice of really not being able to determine what is real from what is not real. And frankly, it comes down to a platform level decision. I'm very confident that Meta and all these other social media platforms will have some sort of watermarking or labeling due to congressional and regulatory scrutiny. So I don't think we have a lot to be super duper concerned about. I actually think the content kind of part of it is almost a little overblown. I think that you can definitely see things and they can sway opinions, but the bottom line is the internet's a big place. And I think the beauty of what's happened over the last few years is the ability to open source, right? While many people have a lot of different opinions on, X and Elon and whatever, I think one of the greatest creations, recently has been the community notes feature of Twitter, which is open sourcing, almost an open source algorithm for truth, where people on all different sides get to come basically submit evidence. And there is an open source code that aggregates all of that data and makes some sort of determination. I think that, being able to look at something and then verify is also the other really important thing. Always having a second source, always going through and confirming. Going off of one individual shocking thing that you see is really tempting a lot of the time. And that's the point, right? They are actively trying to create shocking footage or shocking image. But being able to go back and verify that through some other source is going to be important. Most likely someone else has that same question that you do, right? Is this real? Is this not real? How can I determine whether it's real? But in terms of like looking at something and saying, can I make the determination? I think one thing off the bat is just look at the fingertips. There was a big issue with, 6 fingers on a hand, the ability to not create hands at one point. But again, like I mentioned before, this is all of those little tips and tricks slowly go away, right? Us being able to notice it is basically training data for these new models, which is pretty crazy to think about. But being able to look pretty detailed and say, look, how many fingers do they have? The ends of their fingers, what do they look like? And then the last thing is around basically eyes. A lot of the times they're a lot of pretty glassy. And in terms of video, really look for emotion and tone in the voice. A lot of the times it's very monotone, which is becoming more and more, the ability to actually kind of add emotion is very much becoming more and more prevalent. But it's almost a little bit Siri-like, right? That's the way I would describe it. That's the way I would kind of look at this content. But I think regardless of what you see, we like to use the stat, which is a really scary one, but like 90% of content that is online by the year 2027 could be synthetic. And that's a Deloitte or Gardner study. Don't quote me on that, but basically very reputable source stating that. And I don't think it's really wrong. And when you really think about it deep down, a lot of the content on the internet already is, right? Like there's 90% of the internet we don't even see. And the fact that, a lot of it can be synthetic data is really a clear reality. So it's just always important to look, check, verify, and, use the other sources. And I think the bottom line is use the internet, right? Like it's a tool. It's the underlying tool that allows all this to happen. And being able to leverage that as a weapon against the, application level on top of it is a really, really good way to approach the problem.
Absolutely. Thank you, Justin, for sharing all these useful tips. Now, let's talk about how we can best build trust with our clients and partners as we incorporate more AI into our operations. Kara, would you like to discuss about this?
This kind of leads right back to the discussion we were having. I think that the biggest way to gain trust with your clients is to be able to explain how you arrived at a decision and be able to provide accurate results. Providing information that's garbage, they're not going to trust you. And if you can't explain how you came to a decision, they're not going to trust the decision. An example in the mortgage industry is just getting approved for a loan. Back in the day, Fannie Mae, I'm not sure how they're doing it now, but they did their own credit scoring, and it was a black box AI component, and they couldn't explain how they got that result of 500 or whatever the result was. And people want to know why they were denied from a mortgage. And if you look at like Equifax and TransUnion, you at least know that like your balances, what goes into those factors. So putting the correct combining like decision processing with AI components so that you're kind of having touch points where you can show why the decision was made a certain way is really important, and removing the biases as well, as Anu was talking about. That's a big problem. And if you can show that your results are unbiased because care about the data and training properly, then you're going to gain trust. It's also always critical to have a human in the loop. With the sort of the decisions. It's kind of back to Anu's point. You're training properly. You're making sure that you're looking at the data, you're auditing it, and so forth, so that your data is accurate and the AI tool is trained accurately. And you need to review the results before they're passed along. And as you go along, your tool is going to get better and better and better. The results are going to be way more accurate. But you can't just throw something out there and expect people to be able to use the results. I saw a project recently at the agency I'm working at fail because they jumped into it and gave a tool to users to kind of gain information, like provide back the compliance and FAW, the federal requirements relative to a certain aspect of a project they were working on. And the tool was providing just completely inaccurate and irrelevant results. And so people stopped using it. So that's how I would say to gain trust.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree that transparency is so important, and then the results tell itself, right? So we just need to show that. Yeah. So let's now talk about. So Rachel, I have this question for you. Do you have some tips to implementing AI and automation for businesses? And do you have a success story to share with the audience?
Yeah. I think, as I mentioned earlier, the most successful onboardings and the healthiest usage of a tool like Data Sniffer, for example, is really that tone at the top, coming from a place of empowerment and fostering that culture of continuous improvement. Some of the things that I've found is users are provided time and the resources to really explore how AI can enhance their workflows. When I was a lead senior and a manager, I myself didn't feel like I had enough time to really learn. I even had Data Sniffer on my toolbar, and I just didn't feel like I knew what the benefit was to me. My staff can do it, and so I just pushed it off rather than really, prioritizing that time. I think leaders need to be invested in the training and invested in spending the time to really see what fits best. Anu had mentioned, that being strategic about bringing on a tool, and you need to have those defined goals and KPIs to really make sure that it's fitting in with your desired outcome. A big thing we do here at Data Sniffer is encourage cross-functional collaboration between departments, between teams, and really discussing the developments and the challenges that you're facing when really trying to onboard a new tool. And I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to trusting your people, that they're using it, seeing the value, and they're evolving from it and with it. When it comes to success stories, there's so many that I think of, whether it's accounting, audit, governmental, tax professionals, because our customers use our tool in very different ways. It's very flexible in that sense. And so the way they quantify it is differently, whether it's the hours saved or maybe headaches avoided that maybe happened in the prior year. But I really find the best way to embed automation and AI is to build the trainings and that sort of curriculum into your L&D program. Develop the incentive for staff, seniors, managers, partners to dive into the technology. Give them the time for that training. Then that incentive becomes department-wide, and that's really how I've seen those tools flourish. Gets everyone on board, levels up the entire team, because you're only as fast as your slowest adopter in that sense.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. I absolutely agree with you. And I also wanted to thank you for making our success story at MCB happen by providing us great support during our pilot program, our implementation, and continue to support us. So I would also like to share a little bit about our experience at MCB with AI. And to me, other than the excellent support that we get from Data Sniffer, there are a few other key ingredients, that contributed to our success story. Number one is, I guess that everyone has mentioned before, a clear vision and a holistic view, a strategic plan. We know where we want to be, and then explain that to the management, set the tone at the top, have the approval and resources available. That's very important. And then the second ingredient is a great pilot team, and then select the right project to pilot on. So we have a pilot team that is, I see Justin just logged off, and thank you, Justin, for being here with us today. And so I'll continue. So our pilot team is cross-functional and cross-experience level. So, after the training, we ask everyone to find a current year real client, example to show how much time we saved, and share that within the firm. And especially we give, the less experienced staff opportunity to shine. And this was highly impactful because it was directly relevant to our work and made it easier to prove the concept and create connections and accountabilities. And then another key ingredient is a good project management. Like we mentioned before, plan ahead, have a methodology for implementation projects, including setting the goals, the timeline, the training, the brainstorming session, the Q&A sessions, and what's more importantly, that I think it's taking an agile approach. So to me, the big tasks like overwhelm people. So focus on the here and the now. We found the 15 minutes brainstorming session that are focused on certain areas or sectors or engagement team were very powerful, and they caught the thought on the spot and address it timely and create this aha moment. And then last but not least, I think there's another ingredient, which I think it's a secret ingredient, is a childlike mindset that, it will be amazed to see, like, it has nothing to do with age, gender, or what language you speak. It's just a curious mind, and then the culture that can be cultivated. So that's my 2 cents. But let's go to the next topic. About women in AI. So a lot has been written about the lack of representation of women working in the AI. What are some opportunities for women, and how can we best position ourselves to lead and make impact? I guess I'll go to you, Anu, for this question.
Oh, this is my favorite topic, right? The underrepresentation of women in AI. It's a significant issue, and it's an age-old problem, right? It's not just AI. We have been underrepresented in technical roles in general, right? But this has definitely gained an urgency in the era of Gen AI. But the good news is that there are numerous opportunities for women to lead and make a substantial impact in this field, from research academia, project management and development that you touched upon, Ray, ethics, governance, healthcare, there's education and advocacy. The question is, how do we position ourselves? And the first one is to advocate for diversity and inclusion at your workplace and beyond. And this is a collective responsibility, by the way, right? This is not just women, it is regardless of gender. It's about fostering a culture where everyone feels valued and empowered to contribute their best, bringing their diverse perspective, which is going to be very important to lead to more innovative AI solutions. You're going to need that diversity, for example, within different biases that everyone isn't going to be able to come up with. And secondly, we've talked plenty about that during our panel discussion here, but women need to continue pursuing continuous learning, right? And importantly, developing leadership skills. Staying up to date with the latest technologies and advancements in AI, there's podcasts that Justin shared with us today. There's courses, there's certifications that you can do in attending conferences. This is going to help you build the expertise and stay competitive in the field. The leadership aspect that I mentioned is important because research shows that companies with higher percentage of women in leadership roles, they tend to have better gender diversity throughout the organization. And to me, it is because women in leadership will serve as a role model, right? They're mentors or advocates for other women, helping break down those barriers and creating more opportunities. And along the same lines, if you don't already have a mentor, don't hesitate to seek for mentorship. Connect with mentors, join professional networks, organizations that support women in AI or data. And, there's a lot of other organizations out there that are supporting women in STEM and technical roles. And those are the connections that you build over time that help you with providing guidance, support, opportunities in your career advancement. And my hope ultimately is to get to that ripple effect of support and empowerment going, right? That's where we need to be to get to the point where we need to be.
I agree. Thank you, Anu, for your insights. So we have a few more minutes left. Let's go to the last question. I would like to mention that, one of the most exciting aspects of AI is the potential for innovation and stimulating entrepreneurship. So in the past, women and minorities faced greater challenges in getting fundings and other resources. Kara, do you see AI leveling the playing field by making more accessible to launch and grow new businesses?
I think that, there are some things that you can do at the tactical level to, things that larger organizations have entire teams of people to do, like write proposals and, so forth. So there's tactical things you can do, like you could write AI components to analyze the market and look for opportunities. These opportunities are often posted on a public source. You could have something that reviews requests for proposals and writing proposal responses. That's a very laborious task that generative AI could help with. There's reviewing contracting languages and writing contracts. Again, that's a laborious task. So these are kind of tactical things that can help a smaller organization keep up. But there's a much larger element to that. And, getting financing, I don't know that I see AI helping with that. But I actually see AI almost as being kind of a deterrent for leveling the playing field. And if you look at like the possibility of bias, and so if you're just truly using AI, and then as more organizations use AI to do their kind of procurement activities, and if they're using it to analyze proposals and rank them, then you're going to be at the risk of having biases make a decision for a company that has more experience, because they're just larger and they've been around longer or whatever. And even though, for the government, they have rules about that, but AI could, if you're not monitoring it appropriately, it could be a hindrance. So there again, educating your clients, letting them know about these biases. It really can be an opportunity. Organizations really want diversity. The government wants diversity. Large organizations, they want, especially my husband actually works for a large company and he's in AI. That's what he does. And, they really want more women and more women of color represented in that area. So it's an opportunity that we can all, get involved in and just try to educate and make ourselves known and present. It really kind of ties right back to what Anu was saying.
Absolutely agree with you, Kara. Again, thank you to our speakers for the insightful discussion, and thank you to our audience for tuning in. And we found our panelists, Anu and Kara, through the organization Women in Technology. And so please also connect with that organization if you are interested. And we will be expanding this topic in the future, so stay tuned. And we are also planning our next Women in Business event for the spring of 2025. Follow us on our social channels, and please reach out and let us know what topics you would like to learn more about for our future Women in Business events. Have a great day.